Welcome back, everyone. We finally made it to our last part of this year's Christmas special. We certainly hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did.
It's already pretty awesome what you can do with only one song. But what if we take it even further? The same way we had a choir in the classical version, we could also have one for a gospel version. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of this is Maverick CD.
The stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
Here, the singer Melvin Crispell III in the first verse of the song is singing mainly in neutral in a lighter sound color. Also using audible air and vibrato, his volume is quiet and the character is soft. And then he starts singing with more twang and playing around the volume, so we can say that he is singing in overdrive and curbing. Almost the same happens with the second and the last verse, but from the middle of the song he's showing us even more metal in his voice. He's balancing between edge and overdrive. He has so much control over his breath and support. He has beautiful and very stable long notes, and the choir makes this song even more elevated and creates space for the ongoing conversation between them. Melvin's ornamentations aren't that fast, but you could use them and play around them, getting inspired and creating your own, which is also perfect. Today we're gonna learn the ornamentation with which he finishes the louder part, which starts around 4 minutes and 3 seconds. The lyrics are "Oh, night divine." Alright guys, so let's look at the picture and first analyze. We've already covered all the modes in CVT, so if you have any questions, check out our previous videos. On the word "oh", we have 3 notes in overdrive, so remember the bite and that the character is shouty. Let's try it out. Oh! In the word "night", we have 5 notes in edge. On the last note, he's adding vibrato. Remember about the right setting, which is the bite, and add more twang. Night! Later on, after practicing separately, you can practice both "oh" and "night". Oh, night! And next we have the word divine. At the beginning it can be tough, but later on you'll see and hear that with the right setting anything can be possible. So here we have a huge interval. We start on C4, which is in neutral, and jump to overdrive or edge on the note C5. Even though when we sing in neutral we're supposed to have a loose jaw, it's better now because of that interval to already be prepared and have a bite on the note C4. In that case, you can be sure your C5 will be stable. Divine! At the end of that phrase, he's adding some improvisation. He's singing 5 notes on the vowel O in curving, so with the hold, but on the last note he is singing the vowel A in neutral, and also he is adding the vibrato at the end. So as you can see and hear, it's not that hard. All we need to have is faith in ourselves and good settings. So let's go to work.
The second version that we're going to cover today is the one from Stevie Mackie. It is gospel-ish, so he is very much into gospel. Although he doesn't sing with a choir, I would still consider that version a gospel version because of the way he sings it and the vocal resources that he uses.
thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Oh, fall on your knees.
So he starts very quiet, also with audible air, a little bit like Celine Dion, and then he builds it up slowly in volume throughout the song, a little bit like Celine Dion as well, but he adds more variations to the melody, as if he was a gospel soloist. Also, the song is so famous, people have seen it, heard it, and sung it so many times that one maybe can be thankful that there are some variations to the melody. Also, he adds a few ornamentations here and there, but not too many yet until the end, but we'll come back to that.
Let all within us praise His holy name. For
And then happens one interesting thing at the end of the second chorus. He sings divine, the word divine, and just stays on this really high note. And I mean, for female singers, it's not so high, but for male singers, it's already pretty high. It's an A flat 4. Divine. And he basically stays on that note for quite a long time. And then he adds some distortion to it and he modulates a fifth upwards. So that A flat 4, which would be the fifth of the original pitch in which he starts the song, ends up being the tonica, so the first note of the new pitch.
all night, divine.
So one curiosity about the new pitch that he is in, this A flat, the highest note that he reaches is an E flat 5, which is pretty high for a male singer, even for female singers, if I may say so. And of course, Stevie Mackie has a great technique, but the curious thing that I was going to mention now is that he uses falsetto when he goes up high. It doesn't quite sound like it if you're not experienced hearing vocal modes or detecting falsetto in particular. It may just sound as if he was in metal, but he actually is in falsetto using a lot of twang. And this can be done, especially in the studio, because he can be really close to the mic so that the volume doesn't drop too much. I think in a live performance, people would rather hear that it is falsetto, even though he uses that amount of twang to hide it. But anyway, it would still sound great, I would say. And then, of course, he adds tons of ornamentations, and there is one in particular in this third chorus that I would like to show you now. So the notes for this ornamentation are the following. And the lyrics say divine, O night. So the first couple of notes are on the divine. Divine. Then on that A flat 4, he switches from A to O, and the following notes, they are all on that O. So considering the vowel and the pitch and the volume, it's a clear overdrive for both male and female voices. And then on the last note, this E flat 4, he switches back from O to night, keeping a medium volume. So in CVT terms, that would mean that he is still metallic, but rather reduced than full. All night. However, let's sing through this together on a lower volume in neutral, And let's also keep it slow so that we don't miss out on any note. Divine all night. And then repeat it as many times as you need. So I'll do it once more on this video, but then you can go back and forth and practice this until you get all the notes right and you feel comfortable with speeding it up. Divine all night. Now, if you get to the point where you're ready to speed it up, then do so, but keep in mind that not all notes have the same length. So the first note is in fact pretty short, and then he jumps straight to the next one. Divine. The second one is longer, and as you could hear, he also adds some vibrato at some point, which also helps him to sing the ornamentation afterwards a bit more easily. Divine all night. And then, as you could hear in the previous demonstration, some notes are also a tiny bit longer than the others. Specifically these. While the notes in between are faster. All night. This is another thing that you should always keep in mind when practicing ornamentations. Check if the notes are all equal or if there are some differences among their lengths. So, to sum it up, practice this ornamentation slow on a low volume. Then when you're ready to speed it up, think of each note's length and then go back and just make them all equal again, but add metal to it. All night. So when you add metal to it, as I said, practice it slow, practice them all equal until you're ready to speed it up in metal as well. And then you can go back again to thinking of how each note is stressed. Divine all night. And then repeat, repeat, and repeat. Keep practicing it. Remember that it's a process, so just take your time until you feel comfortable with it. Enjoy it, embrace it, and have fun. That's it with the ornamentation. And of course, in the end, he does a few more and he switches back to neutral, so from falsetto to neutral with more density and a little bit of audible air again. And for the last note, he holds it very, very long, and in the end, he adds a little bit of vibrato, but actually he holds it for quite a long time without the effect, which is nice. So if you plan to do that, please keep in mind to support a lot throughout that one note.
That's the end, guys. We hope you enjoyed each version. As you can see and hear, there are so many ways to approach one musical piece. This Christmas special was already long enough, and we didn't even cover a half of what's out there on the market. But our intention is to inspire you and encourage you to explore different ways of singing regardless of the musical genre.
Also, keep in mind that this is merely a musical and technical approach to this piece, but there's so much more that you can work on, especially when it comes to interpretation. If you want to work on interpretation and how you can apply it to your singing, watch these videos over here.
If you've learned something new with us today, then give this video a thumbs up. And if our content has helped you to enjoy singing even more, then please subscribe to our channel. As always, timestamps are in the description below. You can use them to jump back and forth between all the tools and versions that we covered today. Also, we leave our contact details in the description so that you can book an individual session with us.
That's it. This is our last video of the year, guys. For the next few weeks, we're gonna have a little break. First, to enjoy some time with our loved ones, of course, but then also to focus a little bit more on our studies at the Complete Vocal Institute. We will be improving our skills as singers and teachers to stay updated and, of course, offer you the best help that you can get with your singing. But one thing is for sure, we'll be back with more knowledge, more experience, and of course, more tutorials like this one. Until then, have a lovely Christmas and of course, enjoy every little bit of your singing. Bye!
Bye!